Okay, hello, what's up? It's been a hot minute. Um, this is kind of going to be, Awakening Draconia sort of thing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Tower of Fantasy because I've been playing that as well. Real quick for Tower of Fantasy, I can get this out of the way pretty quickly. Basically, the game is fun. It's a nice distraction from BDO. There are some annoying, frustrating things about it, but I highly recommend that if you like Genshin Impact or games like that, then you should play Tower of Fantasy. Um, like I said, there are some annoying, frustrating things about it, like gating certain content, like story and even leveling. I'm not joking. It actually gated leveling behind like time and even exploration. But despite all that, you can still get plenty of hours of fun out of it. Um, so yeah, um, I'm playing on the Radiant server on Tower Fantasy. If you are interested, now to BDO. Draconia Awakening. How is it? I've seen a lot of people say that it's like, it seems like it's okay. It's just overshadowed by the overpowered class. No, no, this class is bad. It is just straight up bad. All right. I'll try to make this quickly. I've tried to like make a video talking about it and how it's bad, but I've actually tried that twice now at this point. um, but I never released the videos, one because I felt like I was rambling a little bit, and two because I was kind of hoping that we would see some buffs for the PvE at least. And we're just not. It's just not happening. Um, we did get some buffs, I should say, post release of the Awakening, but it needs way more, and not just for PvE. So, what are the problems with the class? Because when you look at it on paper, it has everything, right? It's got like protected movement. Dragon flight is really cool and goes very far. You look at some of these skills, and there's like a lot of super armors in here, and you're like, wow, this class looks broken. Problem is, it's just not. While it seems like it has everything, none of it really mashes together well into an actual good usable kit. Certain skills on their own are really good. Obliterate here hits like an absolute truck. And in terms of damage, that's the one thing I can say that she doesn't lack in PvP. She does not lack in PvP damage at all. I think she probably has some of the highest damage combos in the game right now. Um, like with this gear, I had no problem comboing 400 like DP players with their like evasion buffs. Like I think the only player that I struggled was like a striker who was like 420 DP evasion. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Because you got like an evasion rate down here and an accuracy buff here. You got KDs, um, crazy amounts of damage and all that. But where she really struggles is in any everywhere essentially. She's not a good grinder at all. Um, we'll start with grinding actually before I go into other things. Her AoEs are small on all the skills that deal damage. Like if you look at Spiteful Soul here, 1225, 40% crit rate with how many hits is that? 14 hits total. All right, you might say, okay, maybe it's slow. I'd say that's pretty fast. You know, I don't mind that. I just logged in, so all my ping is pretty fucked. There we go. I forgot the last hit. For 1225 times 14 with 40% crit rate, I'd say that's pretty fast. But the problem with it is that the AoE is like that big, maybe. That's it. So the mobs have to be literally as tightly packed as physically possible, or digitally possible, I guess in this case. Uh, Same with Stormpiercer. Tip of the scale is like really slow. That's how long it took to do all five of those hits. Even though there's a lot of damage there, it's like what 1205 times 20. It's just so slow, you know? Like a Kuno spin is 1100 times 20 with a 100% crit rate. And I don't think spin is like a super crazy strong skill for grinding. It's good, but it blows this out of the water. This thing's just dog shit. Um, So she has tiny ass AoEs, and Obliterate here, well, that first hit's really big. Oh, right, I have Aerial Burst because I locked it because I was messing around. Um, the first hit on Obliterate's big. The second hit is very, very small. That's the second hit there. And that animation's huge. It does not match that animation. It's, again, like that big. Only, I suppose, it's more around the character. Um, the AoEs are in the Dragon Blood skills. But these, especially by grind standards, don't hit very hard, especially for how slow they are. So if I do SE into... Oh, fuck. I got no WP. Hold on. Come on, fuck off. I'm busy. There we are. No. Okay, there we go. So Tectonic into Savage Decree. These kind of flow well together, right? And those two on them by themselves do like decent damage in PvE, but like the rest of this just is not very quick. And for the damage that you're dealing, it's bad. There's no other way to put it. I mean, as you can see, I've already run a WP. She has probably the worst WP management of any class I've ever seen, and I don't even think it's close. She has skills to get WP back, but it's like mid combo. You have to do Tectonic or Crackling Flame to get your WP back. It's just annoying. Um, so yeah, that's a kind of the general idea. Now, in terms of movement, Dragonflight is amazing, but as you can see, it's a 15-second cooldown for one, and two, to go into Dragonflight, you first have to do Mark Thanon's Wings, which costs 400 stamina, and it looks like that. Okay, well, let's do it again. There we go. It looks like that, and it costs 400 stamina. If you hold down the keys, or just space, you'll go into Dragonflight, which costs an additional 250 stamina. And then it'll continue to cost more stamina as you use it, up to, I believe it's 1,050. So it costs 1,450 stamina to do the entirety of Dragonflight. And this is on, already on a 15-second cooldown. And this is on an 8-second cooldown. Bro, this stupid Elton. I swear. Oh my god. I should have just gone to BA, but I was like, it'll be fine. No problem. So, now, I have other issues with these skills in general. Mark Thanon's Wings has this big ass wind up before you actually start moving. Right? So it's not very good. It's only super armor. It's not like it's iframe or anything. So you can't use it to move quickly necessarily. Like if you're in a pinch, it's not gonna get you out of dodge, you know? Um so extremely high stamina costs, long cooldowns, no really good lingers to like recover stamina or anything, and slow movement, right? Dragon Walk. This skill is fine for Suck Dracania, which is slower, let's just say, and it needs to be slower because of how much damage it deals. But for Awakening, which is supposed to be all about like speed, you do have some speedy movements, but Dragon Walk just makes it immediately ruins that vibe and that feel. And the moment you don't have Tectonic or Stormwall, you don't have any immediate quick moving skills. These are it. And even those have a little bit of a wind up to them. Right? So if I do Stormwall and then I go to Dragon Walk, the Dragon Walk part just feels so bad. And Dragon what costs 250 stamina. It's on a 2-second cooldown, and it's only super armor. And to give you an idea, Ghost Step on Kuno costs 200 stamina, is full iframe. And while I don't think Ghost Step moves quite that far, it's probably like around there. It is so much cleaner and smoother to use. It is so much faster. Yeah. And now we'll go into refraction. Refraction is like the iframe. Okay, before I pull up any more mobs, and also we can see things a bit easier. Oh my god, I'm already 10 minutes into this. Shit. I'll try to keep this under 20 minutes, but you know me. Probably won't be that. I'm also getting distracted by my cat, who is the absolute... Oh, it's my brother's cat, but he's on my bed sleeping, and he's the absolute cutest thing. Alright, so. Now, refraction. The thing about this skill is, you know, it's an iframe, so even if it has a bit of a wind-up, that is okay. Alright, I should have turned on exit lag before this, because now I have this, like, weird thing where anytime I go through a loading screen, it takes like an actual minute to really connect to the servers, and it's only BDO too. Like I can log into World of Warcraft right now and I won't have this problem at all. I don't know what's wrong with their servers or my connection in general to BDO. Excuse me, I just ate, so I apologize. I'm drinking a Coke, so I haven't had a soda in so long. Oh man, I missed Cokes. Anyway, refraction. Okay, please stop. Just get, come on. How is it this bad? This is extra bad. I'll be honest. Like I said, it usually takes a minute and then I'm good. There we are. Okay. So, if I go to pre-awakening, imagine I'm the Suck Dracania. You see how I can kind of turn and maneuver while in the iframe? Just by turning my camera. It's not perfect, but it's, you know, you can control it to some degree. If I go to awakening and I try to do the same, there is literally no maneuvering of this at all whatsoever. None. You cannot influence the direction in any way at all. Not even with mouse movement. Just to show that I have mouse movement on. Alright. So. This means you can't really reposition with it in a fight just because, you know, fights in BD are very, very chaotic. Everyone's moving around all the time. And you can't use this to move around with somebody. It's pretty much just avoid, you know, a grab or avoid a slow, avoid big damage, whatever. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad, but to make the, you know, the skill worse and unmaneuverable for a class that's supposed to be faster and more maneuverable than its succession counterpart makes absolutely no sense to me. None whatsoever. So movements, like I said, very high stamina costs, very little to manage stamina. There is some stamina management there. It's just very difficult. Too difficult, in my opinion. And the way her movement works is just very kind of clunky with these weird windups on all her movements. And then you kind of just run out of stuff to do for a bit. So this makes her PvP very bad because by today's standards, you know, you've got Suck Zerkers and Suck Ninjas who can move around almost permanently for Zerkers for sure. They can just move around nonstop. They don't give a fuck about stamina. Warriors don't give a fuck about stamina. There's more kind of cooldown related, but they can still move around a lot. Suck Ninjas have to manage stamina, but they can still move around a fuck ton. Like all these other classes, even Sork can just constantly move in a fight. Now, yes, you can dragonflight and go far if you don't run into a fucking wall. But I mean, if you're a moose and you hold down W, R, and B, you can keep up. Like it's actually, you can just keep up. And the stamina cost is probably relatively similar. See, that's good distance. It's very nice. It costs a lot of stamina, as I said, but it's too much stamina, and it's a 15-second cooldown. And I feel like because they gave the class this skill, they feel like they can't give it other movement, which means it just suffers because you when you don't have this, you don't move around a whole lot. And when you do have this, it's not something you can use like in a fight. It's something you use to engage or to disengage with, right? Or to just move around. You know, if you're in a node war and you need to get somewhere, you don't have a horse, you just pop your dragonflight, you know. But it's not something you can really realistically use in a fight, so it just doesn't offer much. I found use for Mark Thenon's wings because it flows into tip of the scale or other tip of the scale, both of which will apply a knockdown on the hit. I have the bomb because I was testing out, but unprotected, but it's still fairly quick. Um, so yeah, and when you put all these problems together, small AoEs, kind of clunky movement, uh, not high damage in PvP, not necessarily high damage in PvE either when you account for the attack speed and everything. She just doesn't do well anywhere. You're not a good class in 1v1s at all. It's very, very bad. Um, you're not a good class in RBFs. You're not a good class in Node Wars. You're just not a good class anywhere. And it's sad because this fucking class is so cool, right? I mean, come on. Um, and the reason I'm making this video is because every time I go to a stream and I'm chilling, watching people, as I tend to do, I spend a lot of time in just streams, lurking most of the time. Um, a lot of people will say, Awake Draconia, oh, yeah, the class seems okay. It seems okay. It's just overshadowed by the OP classes. Or people will say, Awake and Draconia, that's how classes should be. And I'm not going to argue that point. That's an entirely different topic of balance and BDO. But the class is not good. It's not okay. It's bad. It's very bad. There's a reason you don't see anyone playing the class, right? There's a reason like me, fucking Stratisfied. I think DJules is still playing it, but most people have already rolled off of it and said like, yeah, I'm waiting for buffs because the class just feels terrible to play. You can't grind on it. You can't PvP on it. You can't do anything on it because it's just that bad. The class is not in a good spot. Um, and I don't know. I just kind of get like oh my god. Every time someone says, "Oh, the class is okay," I'm just like, no, it's not. No, it's not. So that's why I'm making this video. The class is not okay. It needs a lot of buffs. Not it needs better flows. It needs to fix some of this weird clunky movement. It needs to lower stamina costs. Basically, like make refraction function just like it does in pre-awakening without this linger. Get rid of the fucking linger, which they're already getting rid of this linger. It should come this week, I believe. I guess today's Saturday, so that's next week technically. But next patch. The most recent fuck. The upcoming patch. There we go. That's how we say this. The upcoming patch, this linger will be gone. Which is fine. That's fine. Lingering iframes are bullshit. Um looking at you, Rangers and Tamers. Um Actually, I think Tamers lost theirs. It just needs to function the same because when you go into this skill, you feel like you can't move, and you can cancel out with Dragon Walk, but Dragon Walk, like I said, has that kind of weird wind up. Okay, it's like slow, and then it's fast, and then it's slow, and then the skill ends, and it's just it feels terrible. It is literally one of the worst movement skills in the game as like a basic movement skill. Like Hash's movement, like their basic shift move skills great. Ninja Kuno's kind of also great, kind of goaded really, right? Ghost step super quick. It's full iframe now. Cost 200 stam. You know, I love me a good ghost step, even though I get ripped out of it all the time. But this just doesn't. It just doesn't work for this class. And if I was gonna get like a little crazy, I'd lower the cooldown on these two as well, both of them down to 5 seconds. I don't think either of these are like fast enough to like break the game or anything. They both have that weird wind up to them. I'd also probably get rid of those as well. I'd also probably take Fate Beckons, which is movement, and make the movement portion of it protected, not the actual CC, the actual attack. That way you'd have something that's semi-safe to use in like duels or in large scale or whatever to go for like CC attempts. Because that's another one of her problems is lack of CCs, and now we're over 20 minutes, but I forgot to talk about this. So she has no CCs, like realistically. Um, you got floats on both Tectonic and Stormwall. I'll get into Bond in a minute. Um, but like if you're off even by the fucking smidge, okay, that one hit. There, it's like the AOE size is it's very very small and very very precise. And with like I said, those wind ups, it makes them very difficult, nearly impossible to actually land on somebody and get a CC, especially in today's you know nearly perma SA. These just don't really cut it. They just don't. Um, Fate Beckons, if you're fighting someone who does a lot of forward guard, it can be decent, but the moment you run into a fast class or someone with like fast CCs, like a Sork turn backslash, a Suck Ninja with literally everything, a Suck Kuno, Awakening Kuno Tamer, Ranger, any of these classes, like this just becomes more of a liability using it. Um, so then you have, like I said, Flight into LMB. That is okay. But again, that is a 400 stamina costing small mobility skill. That is a lot to use just to try and CC somebody. Um, in terms of like debuffs, she has one slow. It's on Sundering Roar, which is that's fine. Fuck slows. I think 10 like that Warriors got nerfed on labs. Gravedigger's now 10%. That should become the like gold standard. Should be like 5 to 10%. Honestly, like bring this down to 7%. I don't care. Just nerf slows. But that's like the only slow she has in the kit. Um, oh yeah, one last thing is this goes along with CCs, right? The bonds are very limited. You can run Tectonic as like a protected float slash movement. Um, you can run Aerial Burst, which is what most people will run. Um, but like that's it. This is the only protected CC she has in the Awakening kit. And then in the Pre-Awakening kit, there's one other, which is 4D. That's it. Two protected CCs total. Total. Now, I know they have this rule that in general, Awakening kits can't have protected CCs. I think this is such a stupid ass rule, and this class is a prime example of why. Um, there's just nothing in this kit to offer that's like CCs. It's just your bond. That's it. That's all you got. She does have a grab, and on its own, the grab is kind of shit. You got that weird wind up into the actual grapple. But you can cancel into it with like a dragon walk. But again, dragon walk being like the literal worst clunky movement in the entire game means it's still very shit. Uh, see, faster dragon walk, just dragon walk is shit, which means that cancels shit. So yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. I may have forgotten a thing here or two, but we're gonna cut it here. The class is really really bad. I'm probably going to, for now, I'm probably gonna weapons coupon back to Kuno just because I know it's bad, but I do miss playing Kuno, even in its shitty shit state. And I'll probably have my Nova tagged. Um, yeah, I was super hyped for this class, and then giga disappointed with how bad it ended up being. It's, geez, it's really really bad, and I'm surprised we haven't seen buffs for it at all. Sorry. major buffs for it. Anyway, thanks for watching. If like me, you're kind of just fed up with BDO right now, play Tower Fantasy. It's fun. It's a nice distraction until BDO kind of, gets interesting again for whatever reason. One more thing I forgot to say. They did buff Kuno on labs. I think it was a couple weeks ago. They buffed Awakening Kuno spin speed damage and increased the attack speed on it. And just recently they improved the animations on Awakening Kuno, which is finally, that was supposed to happen during the reworks. It only took them like a fucking, I don't know, way too long to do that, but it's nice that we finally got that. They were supposed to buff Succession Kuno, their PvE, this patch as well, and they just didn't. So, yeah. They buffed a ninja instead. We're right back to where we started, where we watch Ninja get all the buffs they don't need and Kunos just get left to fucking drown. Um, yep. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that real quick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.